I married Adam when I was 26. He was 31, ambitious, sharp, and disarmingly charming. We met at a tech conference in Austin. I was there helping with PR for my startup, and he was a keynote speaker for a blockchain company that had just closed Series B funding. Our chemistry was instant. Adam loved to be the center of attention, but he always made me feel like I was the one who held the spotlight. He brought me coffee in the mornings. He left notes in my notebooks before meetings. He listened, at least in the beginning. After 2 years of dating, he proposed during a trip to Santorini. The wedding was lavish. The honeymoon, Bali. We bought a modern home in San Francisco and a golden retriever we named Chip. I built my startup while he built his empire. We joked about becoming the next Silicon Valley power couple. Friends envied us. On paper, it looked perfect, but then cracks started to show. Adam grew cold. Conversations became transactional. The warmth turned to sarcasm, the support to criticism. He started hiding his phone. Late-night meetings turned into overnights. The office suddenly had off-site retreats on weekends just for him. When I asked questions, I got stonewalled.
You're paranoid.
He'd snap.
Don't you trust me?
I buried myself in work. My startup had just secured angel funding, and I thought if I succeeded hard enough, he'd love me again. Then one night, I got a call from a mutual friend.
Hey, I think you should know Adam was at the W Hotel bar last night with someone. Very touchy. Definitely not business.
I didn't confront him yet. I needed more, and I needed to protect myself. I quietly hired a private investigator. 2 weeks later, he sent me a file. Photos, screenshots, locations. Adam had been seeing multiple women. One was his new assistant, another, a neighbor. They even used our dog walking app to coordinate meetups. But the worst part? He'd been siphoning money from our joint account. Slowly. Thousands at a time. He created shell LLCs and rerouted income to private crypto wallets. He was laundering his own consulting income to make it look like he had nothing on paper. I spent nights crying on the kitchen floor, but one morning, I woke up numb. That was the moment something changed in me. I printed every bank statement, I set up a cloud backup, I wrote a will, I called a lawyer. When I finally confronted him, he didn't deny it. Instead, he smirked and said,
It was always going to end this way. You just didn't see it coming.
He filed for divorce the next day, in Nevada, citing irreconcilable differences. His lawyer timed the filing to precede my equity payout, making it look like he was owed a portion of my company. He moved out of the house, but he kept the car and Chip. Through legal maneuvering, he made it appear as if I had abandoned the property. The judge granted him temporary possession of our assets pending final division. I was left couch surfing, trying to pitch my startup while bleeding legal fees. But I had one thing he didn't, the full PI report and a quiet witness ready to talk. Instead of lashing out, I planned. I played friendly. I even thanked him for making the process easier. Meanwhile, I worked with 2 forensic accountants to trace the crypto laundering trail. The private investigator stayed involved. We followed Adam's assistant. She was meeting with a notary late at night. A week later, I discovered forged documents being filed under my name, including a withdrawal from a trust fund my grandmother left me. Then I got a tip. Adam had been using my digital signature to authorize tax forms for a fraudulent donation write-off. If I reported this, we could both be investigated. He was framing me to cover his own tracks. I took a breath. This wasn't just divorce, this was war. I filed a restraining order to block Adam from accessing my identity or financial data. Next, I sent my PI's full dossier to the IRS whistleblower line, then to the SEC. I added a cover letter detailing shell accounts and suspected money laundering. My lawyer filed a motion to reopen the divorce discovery based on financial fraud. Adam's attorney tried to stall, but it was too late. The court granted a new hearing. Then came the best part. Adam's assistant, the one he had flaunted online, turned on him. She had screenshots, call logs, even recorded conversations. She admitted she was coerced. With her testimony, we had leverage to request an audit on Adam's company. An emergency injunction froze his assets. The courtroom smelled like old paper and tension. Adam strutted in wearing a $5,000 suit. My lawyer opened with a calm voice.
Your Honor, we will prove intentional misrepresentation, financial fraud, identity theft, and emotional abuse.
We presented the forensic report of hidden income, screen recordings of crypto wallet movement, video from Adam coaching his assistant, email logs showing forged documents. Then we played the audio, Adam mocking me, saying,
She'll fold. She's too soft to fight.
The judge ordered an immediate asset seizure. The house was sold, car repossessed. The court awarded me 85% of all liquidated property. I regained full ownership of my startup shares. And Chip? The judge personally handed him back to me.
You need something loyal in your life.
He said. Adam appealed, but the IRS moved in first. He was charged with tax fraud and misappropriation of charitable funds. He pled down to avoid prison, but his record was ruined. His business partners bailed. His startup collapsed. His new girlfriend left him when she realized he was broke. I took a break from everything: therapy, travel, journaling. I found myself again. 6 months later, I relaunched my company with a rebrand. We hit 150,000 users in the first 3 months. A media outlet did a profile on my comeback story. The same week, I got an email.
Hey, I know I messed up. Can we talk?
It was Adam. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a photo of me with Chip, standing in front of my new apartment holding the keys. Caption: Closure looks good on me. I thought that would be the end. But Adam wasn't done. He filed a defamation lawsuit claiming I had ruined his reputation by leaking false information to the media. He hired a PR firm to clean up his image and tried to cast himself as a victim of a vindictive ex-wife with tech connections. But what he didn't expect? The assistant he betrayed now had nothing to lose and everything to say. She went on record with a podcast exposing his manipulation, emotional abuse, and fabricated company culture. Journalists swarmed him. Meanwhile, I countersued, and my legal team filed a motion for sanctions due to his ongoing harassment. Our motion referenced Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, asserting Adam's lawsuit was baseless and intended solely to harass. The judge reviewed our documentation, including emails where Adam gloated about his plan to bankrupt her with court fees. The judge not only threw his case out with prejudice, but also fined him for court abuse. A restraining order was granted under California Family Code Section 6320. He was barred from any future direct or indirect contact. But one piece still haunted me: my grandmother's trust fund. The trust was meant to fund a community tech incubator for young girls, my grandmother's dream. But Adam had withdrawn $72,000 under my name and diverted it to offshore accounts. It wasn't about the money, it was about what it represented. I hired a forensic accountant certified in AML, anti-money laundering protocols. We uncovered that the trust funds were rerouted through a series of transfers, first into a Delaware LLC under my name, then moved to a bank in Panama, before finally landing in a dormant shell company in Belize, tied to an address used by Adam's high school friend. I filed a complaint with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, and initiated an FBAR, Foreign Bank Account Report, claim. In a moment of boldness, I flew to Miami and met with that friend under a pretense. I wore a wire with FBI consent. He admitted Adam used him to avoid detection, and even showed me the wire email and fabricated notarized documents. That was the final nail. With enough proof, I filed criminal charges. The federal court subpoenaed Adam for testimony under a grand jury proceeding. He pled the fifth in 19 out of 22 questions. The Department of Justice began formal investigation into wire fraud, tax evasion, and identity theft. The $72,000, recovered through a court-ordered seizure, I used it to fully fund the tech incubator my grandmother dreamed of. Opening day, I gave a speech. This place was built on ashes, but it stands for growth, strength, and second chances. Girls clapped. One asked me afterward,
Was it worth it?
I smiled. Every betrayal is a redirection to something better. Meanwhile, Adam was added to the OFAC watch list and blacklisted from future tech contracts. His assets were listed in public IRS lien records. 1 year later, I stood in front of a crowd of young founders speaking at a major entrepreneurship conference. After the event, a woman approached me, Adam's ex-assistant. She hugged me and said,
Thank you. You saved my life too.
I realized then, revenge wasn't just about evening the score. It was about reclaiming who I was. I was no longer a victim, or even just a survivor. I was a builder. I was invited to speak at a tech ethics symposium hosted by Stanford Law. My presentation, When Love and Law Collide, Reclaiming Identity After Financial Betrayal. The story wasn't about Adam anymore. It was about rising, truth, and healing. You don't need to destroy someone to win. You just need to rebuild in a way they can never follow. What would you do if you lost everything to betrayal, but had one shot to get it all back? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe. This story isn't over, and neither is yours.